If you clicked on this video, chances are pretty high that you are as desperate as I am for a new Metroidvania to rival the now 6 years old indie classic Hollow Knight. Still no release date for Silksong? Okay, no, I won't add insult to injury because it hurts me as much as it hurts you, believe me.
Start with Hollow Knight because we're never going to see Silksong anyway, so...
Man, they liked us until that.
There's a lot on offer in the genre, and fans of every sub-bubble get what they crave for. But unfortunately, all these games have to be measured against the masterpiece with the ghostly warrior beetle. So, is there by any chance a candidate who would like to take up this challenge? Today I'm going to show you a current cat-like competitor that wants to join the upper echelons of its peers, with its wonderful presentation and tight combat. NineSols. No, not souls. Sols. Without the U. Okay, maybe they should have added this letter to the name as a warning perhaps? But never mind. Grab a pipe, sit back and relax, while I get to the bottom of what this game has to offer. I'm Grumpy Snorly, and this is a closer look at NineSols. NineSols was made by the Taiwanese independent developer Red Candle Games. You've never heard of them? I'm not surprised, because their first two games, Detention and Devotion, are both delisted on Steam. And why are you asking? Because an Easter egg was found in Devotion that alludes to a certain dictator who is often referenced as the famous bear from the Disney movie. Luckily, both titles can be purchased in a DRM-free version on Red Candle's website, because it would be a real shame if these works were lost. The thing that should catch everyone's eyes immediately is its art style. The devs refer to it as Taopunk, a mixture of cyberpunk and Taoism. It is hard to overlook how Red Candle Games completely visualizes the purely textual narrative in a manga aesthetic. In the 90s, mangas flowed over from Japan to Taiwan and became part of its pop culture. Allegedly, this narrative style was chosen to save costs, but the plan probably didn't work out, as these manga panels weren't cheap either. And I also don't know whether I should believe the story or not, because you can literally feel that this devoted love for manga runs through the whole game. From the font of the English text to the layout of the panels, the heart and soul that must have gone into these beautiful illustrations shows their passion for this art form and feels perfectly suited for a 2D game like this. The character models for the dialogue are also drawn in delightful detail, which is important, as they are used quite often. Never before have I been told such an extensive story in a Metroidvania. There isn't quite as much dialogue as in this tactical espionage franchise, but you will still spend a lot of time reading. Can you guess from where they draw inspiration for the visualization of radio transmissions? No, me neither.
I guess you're feeling a little rusty. Don't worry.
The characters are very well fleshed out, and after just a short time, I know more about them than I do about Samus after 38 years. Or have I repressed some bad memories?
The baby, none of the baby, and the baby.
In my opinion, the focus of NineSols on its excessive storytelling is a welcome change from the typical genre formula. Next, I would like to talk about backgrounds. Especially in 2D games, they are the main factor that allows the player to further connect with the world, and therefore the most important element for environmental storytelling. For example, Hollow Knight's atmosphere is created by the many particle animations and area-specific color schemes, which combined with the eerie soundscape and peaceful, harmonious soundtrack create a unique dreaminess in which you can fully immerse yourself. Also contributing to the dark yet fairy tale-like aesthetic are the depth-blurred constructs in the background. Overall, they lack a bit of variety, but considering the size of the game world and with the amount of work that needs to be put into them, that's not a surprise. NineSols has some interior levels, futuristic hallways, which seem very generic, and don't express any character. But apart from these, you wander through so many gorgeous areas, each one so charmingly and distinctively designed. I like how clean and crisp the backgrounds are drawn, especially at important locations, such as your hub, the Four-Season Pavilion. The game starts to shine artistically. This place captivates you with its vibrant and colorful beauty, as you were standing in the middle of a traditional painting. In many places, the designers have succeeded in giving the backgrounds so much more depth than our fastidious eyes are used to recognize. In some instances, three-dimensional elements also contribute to this. For me, it's so much easier to immerse myself in a world when I can spot from afar what lies hidden beyond those layers. I can feel how this world communicates its history through those backgrounds. Special shoutouts to Blasphemous, because its backgrounds achieve a gritty and dirty Dark Souls-esque atmosphere, drawn in a very minimalistic yet detailed art style. Hollow Knight, of course, also has some memorable locations with cool backgrounds such as the Lake of Un. But what about you? Which Metroidvanias do you think have a dense atmosphere, a special art style, or breathtaking backgrounds? Please let me know in the comments. For me, the award for most beautiful Metroidvania definitely goes to Ori and the Will of the Wisp. But now let's go on with the topic of combat. Let me just say, NineSols is ruthless right from the start and throws you into the deep end in terms of difficulty. In Hollow Knight, you can even skip the first boss by breaking down the door on the left. But of course, for the sake of my honor, I didn't do that. As cool as Hornet is, she's only supposed to teach you the basics, and is actually a joke once you've got them figured. Of course, I first had to go through this learning process with NineSols, and perhaps I shouldn't have messed with this one optional boss so early. This fiend really has the nerve to throw me out of his chamber over and over again. And now even the audacity to restore all his health? I did this for a very frustrating hour, until I was finally able to achieve a victory, but I was subsequently richer in experience for it. So what makes the battle system so difficult? NineSols is like Sekiro, only in 2D. Which means that the focus is on parrying. But there are two major differences that completely broke my muscle memory. You can only fend off red glowing special attacks while you are in the air. This means you have to jump and then wait for the perfect moment. Reason number 2 is your talisman, which you can attach to an enemy for an explosion. You have to charge it up first in order to use it, which is only possible by parrying. This talisman works like a dash, but since there's also a normal dash for dodging, it is easy to get confused in stressful situations. Both maneuvers are mapped to a different shoulder button, allowing to dash normally without using your talisman. Now it's time to learn which specific attack of an enemy can be strategically exploited to use the talisman, or when it's best to simply dodge. You can't rely on parrying alone, as you will suffer temporary damage if your timing wasn't perfect, and it will take a long time to recover from this. That's a huge amount of information to process in your head, but once you figured it all out, the combat system is just satisfying and fun. It just feels amazing to shred through the corridors at lightning speed, searching for treasure or finding a new way forward. Which leads me to the question, does NineSols have the branching level progression that makes it worthy of being called a Metroidvania? For the first 2 or 3 hours, you are taken by the hand in a very strict manner, which is not typical for the genre. But the 2 reasons for this are obvious. You are supposed to learn the combat system and concentrate on the story. At first I was disappointed with this restrictive guideline, because it prevented me from connecting to the world. Luckily, after the second boss, the game switches to the exact opposite approach. From here on out, you are given no further information about where to go next, forcing you to find the right path on your own, which is great, because that's the appeal of such games. Now you have the freedom to explore every corner. The first route I found was completely optional, but I had the opportunity to farm additional skill points, found treasures, and collected money for upgrades that other players might not have at this point. I ran into genre-typical dead ends, locations that I had to remember and come back later. better. That's why I think all the elements that make up for a good Metroidvania are definitely present in NineSols. The areas are not very complex in themselves, only often have a single linear path on which you literally walk from A to B, but offer you enough little secrets to discover along the way to sweeten up your time. A very cool thing are the challenges where you have to solve little puzzles with your remote-controlled butterfly. But let's be honest, other representatives of the genre aren't much more complex either in terms of level design. The Ori games, for example, are similarly structured, but still rightfully regarded as classics. Hollow Knight may be the only Metroidvania that breaks up this structure, concealing entire areas and storylines behind hidden doors. The deeper you climb down this nest, the more dangerous and terrifying everything around you becomes. And you gradually lose the safety that the seemingly hopeful areas above still offered you. One could argue that Hollow Knight was already a unique phenomenon for its genre, revolutionizing familiar pattern of level progression with unexpected moments, just as Elden Ring did as an open world game. If you are interested in how Elden Ring deals with the topic of open world progression, you can watch my video about it. I will link it for you in the info box and the description. And if you want me to dedicate a whole video to Hollow Knight, let me know by liking this one. If this video hits 200 likes, Hollow Knight will get its own. So share this video with friend and foe if you want to make it happen. If you like my content, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and tell me in the comments what your favorite Metroidvanias are and what makes them special in your opinion. NineSols is definitely a charming and thoughtfully designed game that should be played by all fans of the genre and deserves much more attention. If story always falls a little short for you in Metroidvanias, this one is definitely for you, as a lot of attention and passion has gone into the elaborate presentation. Most locations look immensely expressive and give the game its unique atmosphere. The more linear nature of the levels doesn't bother me at all, because this way it is able to focus more on its strengths, its combat and narrative, without missing out on exploration. NineSols doesn't add anything specifically new to the genre, but is very individual and perfectionistic in all aspects it takes on. It may not be a Hollow Knight killer, but for sure it is a great alternative. Yours truly, Grumpy Snorley.